Welcome to Everything Pro Wrestling. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans, for the fans. And here's your host, Conrad Cushman.
All right, folks, welcome to Everything Pro Wrestling. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans, for the fans. I am your host, Conrad Cushman, and we are here today to have a very, very special podcast talking about the one and only, the legend, Jushin Thunder Liger. I've been wanting to do this probably for about a year now, and shout out to Rob who put this together real quick for me. He put all of the overlay pieces together, so big shout out to him for setting this up. And we're going to talk about Jushin Thunder Liger, but first, let's get some things out of the way, man. This is being recorded on YouTube. We hit over 1K this weekend during the NWA Into the Fire, or as I like to say, Into the Fire! Make sure you guys do me a favor. If you like the channel, click the subscribe button. Also, leave a like on the videos. We will be back tomorrow recording AEW Dynamite review. AEW Dynamite and NXT both look solid, so make sure you guys are watching wrestling this Wednesday night if you can. Should be tremendous stuff. Also, these videos that I'm posting on the Tuesday nights, they are going to start going to the audio versions the next day, so make sure you guys, if you want to take it on the go, if you don't have time to listen to it on Tuesday nights, take it with you, man. It'll be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to them on. Type in Everything Pro Wrestling. You should be able to find it, and you guys should be able to enjoy it. And I saw Chris Matthews in the chat. John L. Jackson, what is going on, guys? Glad to have you in here. So you guys are going to be seeing me jumping around. Hopefully I don't mess up any of these names too badly. If I do, I apologize now. I'm going to do my best on all the name pronunciations for some of these people, because I know sometimes you think you are reading things correctly and it doesn't come out right. So we're going to talk about Jushin Thunder Liger, one of my favorite wrestlers from Japan. Donnie, I see you. What's going on, brother? Good to have you in here, man. You guys will get some different things if you listen to the audio version too. You'll have a pretty different listening experience as well. But let's get into this, shall we? Jushin Thunder Liger, one of my favorite pro wrestlers. Where do we start with him? How did all of this begin? How did we get so lucky to have someone in such a great legendary status in New Japan Pro Wrestling, actually across the wrestling world? How did this all happen? Let's start off with the history of Jushin Thunder Liger, shall we? The man's name is Kichi Yamada, and he primarily worked for New Japan Pro Wrestling since 1984 until present day. So from 1984 until 2020, until we get to Wrestle Kingdom 14, this is what we know about the man Jushin Thunder Liger. He is the longest tenured member, of the New Japan Pro Wrestling roster. He competed with his real name in 1984. And he got all the way through everything until he got to being called Jushin Thunder Liger in 1989. How did we get there? So Yamada was an amateur wrestler during his high school years. In his senior year, he lost into a national championship finals, and he wanted to figure out what he was going to do with the rest of his life. Like most of us do when we are seniors in high school, he said, I'm going to become a pro wrestler, because he was good at wrestling. So he went off to try to become a pro wrestler. He did not meet the requirements. Back in the day, they used to have height requirements and probably weight requirements too to make it as a pro wrestler. And if you guys know Jushin Thunder Liger, he's known as a super junior or a junior heavyweight. No possible way that Liger was going to make it with those credentials that he was trying to get through, right? So he didn't make it. So what do you do then? When you're determined, you go and find another route. So Liger did that. He did not want to give it up, so he went to Mexico. And I think all this plays a big part in how his career turned out. So Jushin Thunder Liger went to Mexico and learned how to become a professional wrestler there. And he began training, and by his own account, some people said at certain points in his life, he was probably not getting a lot of money, so he didn't have money for food. He was starving at some points, people would say. While starving in Mexico, New Japan officials were there visiting. And they must have remembered Liger or heard about him, and they took pity on him a little bit, is how it's been described. And the pity for Jushin Thunder Liger eventually led to something amazing. They picked him up and said, you know what, come back to the dojo and we'll train you. So in the New Japan dojo, he trained with some of the likes of, you may know these names, KJ Muto, Masahiro Chono, Hashimoto, some of the great names for that. So Jushin Thunder Liger is someone who has been doing this for quite some time. And what's going on, live chat? I see some of you guys popping in here. Appreciate you guys coming on in. We're just talking purely Jushin Thunder Liger tonight. This show is dedicated to him and his legendary career. And we're just starting off where he came through. Back to what we were saying, though. So he left for Mexico. New Japan officials took pity on him, saw he was starving, invited him back to the dojo. He's training with people like Masahiro Chono, Great Muta, and Hashimoto. So while continuing his training, he had his debut match in 1984 at the age of 19. Jushin Thunder Liger wrestled against, I think it's Kosugi. And he began studying various martial arts styles because he wanted to add something new and different to his style of wrestling. All of this is telling a greater story that we're going to get into. He is really, really someone that you would be impressed by, guys, with what he decided to come up with. He has not retired yet. I see some people asking in the chat. He is retiring at Wrestle Kingdom 14, but I wanted to dedicate this show a little bit beforehand to him because he's one of my favorites. And I think more people need to know about Jushin Thunder Liger if they don't know about him. So he made his debut and he wanted to add something different to his wrestling style. So he started learning martial arts. Some of it probably was MMA based because Liger likes to use different things. If you notice, like the palm strikes in his matches, many of those different things. So he learned different kicks, maneuvers, and everything else. In 1985, he participated in the Young Lion Cup and got to the final of the tournament before being defeated by the same person he had his first match with. And in the beginning of 1986, he competed in the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship League, but he lost to Black Tiger. He was going through kind of the normal rookie things that you go through. He's losing matches, he's making it there, but he's making an impact on the people that matter, the people who are the decision makers, the movers, the shakers, and everything that's going on. So we get to, I'm going to fast forward kind of to the year 1989. Jushin Thunder Liger is born into the man that we see on our screen here, the guy with the colorful masks, the guy who comes out and everybody loves. You know, he does the dances, and I'm doing them on screen right now if you guys can't see, but he does all that stuff. And how did we get there? Supposedly, I've heard both ways. I believe what I'm gonna say here is the truth. Jushin Thunder Liger was born in the character was born in 1989 based on an animated series. So like a cartoon, basically based on Beast God Liger. The creator Go Nagi created this, and it's an amazing look. We don't have Liger's first look up here, but Liger used to wear red and gold and a mask that was similar. It kind of looks like an Iron Man mask or Vega from Street Fighter. It looks very different than the mask we have today. So Jushin Thunder Liger is someone who matters so much to the professional wrestling world, and someone who I really think people need to take focus on. So let's look at it. His legendary career, it spans 3 decades. He wrestled in over 4,000 matches, and he went across the globe. He is a junior heavyweight legend. And just to put up his accolades real quick, this man is an 11-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. His second reign as champion is also the longest reign that anyone's ever had as champion at 628 days. He won the Best of the Super Juniors 3 times. He is a 6-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champion. And he is a 2-time Super J Cup winner in 1995 and the year 2000. The man is timeless when you look back at Jushin Thunder Liger's history, bro. This dude is good. I'm telling you guys. If you guys are in the chat and you have some Liger moments, let me know here. This might be a question for you for later, but do you think he will unmask at Wrestle Kingdom? Save that for me towards the end, Connor. Put that in a little bank, and if you guys come up with some questions, I will be more than happy to answer them at the end pertaining to Liger, at least opinion-wise, with it. So next, guys, I want to talk about how I became introduced to the man known as Jushin Thunder Liger. And if you guys have stories on how you first saw him or how things came up, please let me know. But let's start with how I started seeing Jushin Thunder Liger. I've told you guys over the years, how did I get into professional wrestling? How did I get this love for it? How do I know this? I'm a super wrestling nerd, like really bad. You guys can see behind me, I have wedding pictures with my wife, and we did like the Macho Man Randy Savage poses with the titles. I love wrestling. Jushin Thunder Liger, though, I remember when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I was watching WCW at the time. And WCW had a match, one of the first matches from WCW that I can really remember that had a big effect on me. I remember names like Sting, Ric Flair, the Steiner Brothers, Lex Luger, Ron Simmons, Butch Reed, Teddy Long, Mean Mark Calloway even. You just knew certain people from WCW. And you would once in a while recognize them when they jumped over. I'm 5. So some of the people, I didn't realize it at first, were different guys. But, dude, the matchup from Super Brawl 2, when they showed this, Brian Pillman versus Jushin Thunder Liger. Absolutely amazing, guys. I don't know how else we can make a bigger impact for someone who is an international superstar other than to let them go out there and just do their style and be themselves. They let Liger and Pillman do that. To me, Brian Pillman was one of my favorites as well. Young man, played for the Cincinnati Bengals, had a raspy voice from the polyps from, he had to have several throat surgeries from, I believe, to prevent throat cancer, or he had throat cancer. I'm not entirely too sure. But Brian Pillman, his son is now wrestling today. Brian Pillman is a complete legend, someone who I really think deserved more than what he got in the business of pro wrestling. But Pillman was great back then. And they were starting up a light heavyweight division in WCW. They had a light heavyweight title. The main players in that division, it didn't last too long, but they were putting the title on guys like Brian Pillman, Jushin Thunder Liger, Brad Armstrong. You may have had a Scotty Flamingo in there who was Raven, if you guys didn't know. You had people like that, but it didn't last too long. It was kind of a fade in, fade out kind of thing. And I think this was a little bit before the Bill Watts era of you can't jump off the top rope, you can't throw people over the top rope. I hated that. One of the annoying things about WCW at the time. But I digress. This match, Brian Pillman, Jushin Thunder Liger, really introduced me to different things. Now, as a kid, I've always been drawn into a lot of wrestlers who have face paint, whether it be the Ultimate Warrior, Demolition. The bright colors really attract you as a kid. And me having a child myself now, I've noticed the same things. Kids like these bright colors on the wrestlers, and they are instantly like, oh, that's cool. The person is really dope. He must be important because he's wearing this. They do everything correct with Liger. He goes in there, he has great matches with Pillman. I remember he defeated Pillman beforehand, but this match at Super Brawl changed it all. And I don't even remember how I saw this match, but I distinctly remember just the back and forth, the maneuvers. You never saw people do dragon suplexes and jump off the top rope. Liger at one point did a full flip somersault out to the outside. Now, guys, go back to 1992. Think of wherever promotion you watched back then, or even if you did, nobody was doing somersaults to the floor. Not even in like 1996. People were not going crazy like that unless you were watching ECW, CMLL. You weren't seeing stuff like that on American television wrestling. You just didn't see it. And they really figured out a way to make this something special. They always had a plan for how we were going to expand internationally with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And this lasted for quite some time during these years. They had Jushin Thunder Liger come in. You saw people like Masahiro Chono. This is where I'm first introduced to the man named Chris Benoit. They brought in so many wrestlers that I just started to learn their name. And this is how I'm trying to tell you guys, this is how I started to fall in love with New Japan, because I knew these guys from those days. They would come back in later. You would see them filter in through WWE, ECW, different places, and I just became attached to some of these people. But two guys really had my attachment: Great Muta and Jushin Thunder Liger. Two of my favorites, because they made big impacts on the WCW brand by winning their titles, coming in and putting on hell of a show, and keeping their style still to the New Japan style. Really, really good stuff. Now, we bring that up, Brian Pillman and everything else, but, you know, what happened through all the years when, because I'm mainly a WWE guy when I was growing up, what happened to all the years in between when you couldn't see any Liger matches? This wonderful thing called YouTube came out, and he popped up at other places. You would see him right around this time, I want to say, where I'm discovering YouTube. You're starting to see Liger pop up at places like Ring of Honor. He wrestled Samoa Joe at Bound for Glory for TNA. And I started Googling Jushin Thunder Liger, and I started finding all of his old matches and rewatching them and going through all of them. And Rob brings it up all the time. I was watching Bob Sapp matches back in the day with him wrestling. I wanted to know everything about the pro wrestling world in Japan, and Liger, Muta were my instant opening connections into getting back into that world. It just meant so much. And I see King in here as well. What's going on? Yes, Chris. Chris Benoit was the Wild Pegasus. But it opened up everything. And Liger just meant so much to me. And, you know, you start doing your research. The internet's a massive thing. You start Googling different things. And Liger's one of those performers that I never, ever got to see perform. And I really wish I did. I don't think he ever came to my area for anything. But Liger was just, you had to go to the show and happen to catch him there. Really good dude, though. Really good dude. Lots of fun when you look at getting introduced to Liger. Liger really had me focus on New Japan Pro Wrestling, and hence, this is why I'm in love with the matches at Wrestle Kingdom now. You can go back and look at some of the early classics. You could even look at matches like AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Kenny Omega versus Okada, Tanahashi going in there and ripping it up with any junior. Hopefully Ryu Dragon we get to see soon, and we're going to touch on that too probably towards the end. But you want to see all these great matchups happen at Wrestle Kingdom. You want to see these big feuds blown off, and they started giving you something that you're lacking, you're missing from WWE, and it feels like you can get that WrestleMania before WWE has their WrestleMania. Really dope. You have so many different things that you could do with that. Really good. Let me see what the chat is saying here real quick, guys. Chris Matthews put, should Liger wrestle in NXT one more time before finally hanging it up? I would love to see that, Chris, but I don't think he's going to. I think that match with Tyler Breeze was his, like, let me say I wrestled for WWE one time, because he was trying to hit every promotion. And I got the list of almost everywhere where he wrestled, and I know I'm missing a bunch too, but you guys will be impressed. Let's see here. Connor says, I was introduced to Liger at Wrestle Kingdom 12 back in 2018 and fell in love with Liger and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Donnie says that he came in from the same reason, Liger and Pillman. Chris brought up Chris Benoit, Wild Pegasus before. King Savage 1993, what's going on? And he said Liger versus Breeze. It was an excellent matchup. So we talked about how Liger got introduced to a lot of things, and I'm going to talk about personally why I like Jushin Thunder Liger so much. And we're going to get into some different things here, guys. These are all personal, like I said. Live chat, same question for you. Why do you guys like Jushin Thunder Liger? Whether you're listening to this, guys, on Wrestling Aminu, Twitter, you can get at me at EPW Show. You guys can see all of the links down below. Instagram, wherever. Send me a message and tell me what you liked about Jushin Thunder Liger. I'll put a smile on my face, I promise. Why do I like him so much? The guy revolutionized his styles. As I brought up in the biography kind of section of this, the history of where it all started with Jushin Thunder Liger, he had so many different styles and it all molded together. He had the United States style down. He could go in there, wow people. He would be a perfect person to have on the first match, the last match. Liger needed to do something important because he could hold and captivate an audience. Next, the Japanese style. Bro, I don't need to say anything about it. You know how good this guy is. He's still good even at 54 years old. He put on a 4-star match. Like, this dude is amazing. We don't have to say anything else about that. He even has the CMLL Mexican style down. If you guys have ever watched some of his moves, the surfboards that he likes to use, Liger has it all. I'm telling you. He can really do anything, any style, and just fit in, whether it's the hardcore, the high flying, the technical wrestling. Liger can do it. He can do it, and he can be effective at it and hold an audience. Did you guys know that Jushin Thunder Liger invented the shooting star press move that you see a lot of wrestlers do? Moves done well by Matt Sydal, Billy Kidman. Jushin Thunder Liger invented the shooting star press. Remember when I said he wanted to be different? He would add in the MMA, the palm strikes, and everything else. A part of being different was, well, if he's a high flyer, Jushin Thunder Liger is going to want to obviously try something very different with moves. He invented that. Look at the crazy mask that the dude wears, as you guys can see on the overlay here. Jushin Thunder Liger's mask is pretty dope. You cannot be mad at anything involving Jushin Thunder Liger with it, and it's just dope, dude. Like, I can't say anything else that you could complain about. The mask is too raw. Everybody wishes that they had a mask like this, and you guys used to play the SmackDown vs. Raw video games. You know, once you get in there and you see the Jushin Thunder Liger mask, it puts a smile on your face, and then I'm glad that they would include it in there. People from Ukes and everywhere else. Look at the moves that he also had. Look at his moveset. Amazing. So we talked about the shooting star press. He had the palm strike. One of my favorites, the Liger bomb, the running power bomb that he could put you down with. Let me see here. The rolling kick that he always did. You guys see a lot of people do it now. They just roll and then they kick you with the heel right on top of your head. Liger started all that. And the brain buster. I used to love early on, he did the DDT off the top rope. Brainbuster. These moves were dangerous back in the day, and Liger was doing them like nothing. You don't have anything to worry about with it. So, the guy also is versatile in his style. I brought up he could do the technical wrestling, hardcore, everything else. What about the comedy wrestling? If you guys have never seen Jushin Thunder Liger at PWG events, the dude knows what he's doing, man. He can go out there and make everybody laugh. I know some people hate it. They do like the thumb going near the butt, and Liger's walking around like a choo-choo train, and he turned everybody over, but he can do comedy as well, and he knew how to make everybody laugh. And you would think Liger's going to come in and be a serious competitor in PWG. He's doing what everyone else is doing, making them laugh. He's one of the boys. And you never heard any bad stories about Jushin Thunder Liger. He's never had to go and beat up anybody. People have the utmost respect for him. Is it because he was a big-time trainer in New Japan for people like Fergal Devitt, Prince Devitt, Finn Balor? A lot of people speak very highly of Jushin Thunder Liger. I cannot complain, man. I cannot complain. Where has the man worked? Several people brought up Jushin Thunder Liger versus Tyler Breeze. So he's been in WWE/NXT. WCW, we brought up his matches with Brian Pillman. He wrestled against Bryan Danielson in Ring of Honor. Samoa Joe in TNA. We also have him wrestling in the War promotion. Noah, UWFI, CMLL, PWG. We can go on and on and on. He's been in so many indies. Liger is part of American wrestling, in my opinion, at this point. He's someone who I believe should be in any Hall of Fame that happens in the pro wrestling world. I know that I believe Meltzer put him in his Hall of Fame. Can't be mad at it. Really good. And New Japan Pro Wrestling, obviously, King. Thank you. The dude is so good, man. He's been everywhere and done it all. Another reason why I like the guy, Jushin Liger. Who is that? What is that? Can someone explain it? Is something that we often get to see with it. And I am going to do my best to explain this because a lot of people just don't understand what it is. And you guys can see the images on the overlay here where in my on this side coming over that way, you guys see a Jushin Liger, and you also see one bottom corner. Oh, wrong side, right there. Liger can get into a whole nother dimension of his character. So you got to think. In pro wrestling, we love when people have these layers to their characters. For years, Jushin Thunder Liger just wrestled plainly, and he got into some matches. I'm going to talk about them a little bit later. But if he gets angry enough, he can go into another mode. And it's kind of like, the best way I can put it is, think of Dragon Ball Z. Characters go Super Saiyan, right? And Finn Balor unleashes the demon and everything else. Well, Liger can become Jushin Liger. And Jushin Liger is a different version of him. He is vicious. He is brutal. He is someone who is going to whip your ass if you can stop him. But more than likely you can't. He will come out with face paint on. He may miss you. He may take a spike to your head. He can come out there and attempt to really decimate his opponent. He tried to, like I say, he tried to stab somebody in a match. Like, they know that this dude is crazy. You don't get to see stuff like that. And he's only brought it out a couple times ever. And it's really something nice to see from it. It's basically Jushin Thunder Liger's demonic character and how he can move forward with being himself and doing things. Really good. Donnie just said, Finn Balor said it best, Liger is timeless. Bro, 110% with you on that. Now, with all good things, Liger's career is coming to an end at Wrestle Kingdom. He's got so many good things that have happened for him over the years. I've been through his accolades. I don't need to say more. But I just felt this dude deserved his own podcast by me because he's a legend, man. He's been around for a long time. And I think the pro wrestling world is not realizing how sad they're going to be when they lose this guy. He has a great theme. Great theme. And I'm going to definitely be playing it at the end of this podcast. Liger is a timeless gem. Donnie and Finn Balor said it best, man. He's timeless. The dude has been around since I was a kid in pro wrestling. So it's kind of a sad, heart-tugging moment for me to even speak on this and figure out where to get it. But I'm glad that you guys are all here to kind of talk about it with me, and we could kind of celebrate what is the goodness of Jushin Thunder Liger in pro wrestling. And I think it's going to be fun, and it's something that we probably are going to need to do for the next couple weeks here, because Liger is going to be everywhere, man. He's going to be everywhere doing everything, and it means so much, man. He's going to be day 1 and day 2 for the Wrestle Kingdom shows. So make sure you guys are there showing some love for it. Me and Rob will definitely be doing a review of Wrestle Kingdom. I have a great preview guest lined up. You guys will randomly start seeing that pop up soon. But I plan on recording that, I believe, next week. Yeah, it'll probably be a week in a couple days. So we're going to have a great preview set up for you guys for the Wrestle Kingdom show. You'll love my guest. Like I said, it's somebody who you guys are all clamoring probably to have back on the show, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun just to give preview and predictions for 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom. I don't know if that's one of the great things. Derek just wrote, when he retires, he will say, tell him to bring me my money. He probably will, Liger, man. Definitely. Savage wrote, GOAT. 100%, bro. 100%. Folks, we're going to get right back into the best matches for Jushin Thunder Liger. I want to take a quick second to acknowledge our sponsors, Powerslam.tv, and I want to show some love to my good friends at Everything College Basketball in between this break. So if you guys want, make sure you check out Powerslam.tv using the promo code EPW Show, and also check out my good friends at Everything College Basketball because it'll be March Madness before you know it. We'll be right back after these messages.
Are you looking for the newest and hottest in the world of pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 6,000 hours of the best events from over 150 of your favorite promotions from 20 different countries around the globe. Brands like Progress Wrestling, Evolve Wrestling, Combat Zone, Defy, PCW Ultra, PWX, Over the Top, Shine, and hundreds of others with fresh content added every day for only $5.99 per month. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
Everything Pro Wrestling, it's your boys from the Everything College Basketball Podcast and Facebook group. I'm Josh Burton, letting you all know that if you like the college game, that there's only one spot to come find all you need to know.
Yep, Josh, Peyton, and myself, Tyler. We are the 3 voices of ECB podcast and Facebook group. Peyton, tell them where they can find us and listen to us at.
Well, Tyler, you can find us on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and all other podcast hosting sites. Also, go join our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups like Everything College Basketball.
So if you want everything you need to know about the collegiate game or have a passion for it, there's only one spot that you need to check out on a weekly basis or a daily basis with the Facebook group. That's Everything College Basketball. Now let's get back to Conrad informing you on everything pro wrestling and the workings around it.
Brother.
Matches, real quick, for Jushin Thunder Liger. So if you guys have any matches that you dig, that you're like, yeah, this is really good stuff, you guys should check this out. This is the perfect opportunity for you guys to come on in, bring it up, and let's see what we can get out of this. Let's see what we could do. So, best Jushin Thunder Liger matches, if you guys want to, let me know. Tell me what some of yours are. I've got 10 written down here, but I've got some extras too that I kind of wanted to talk about. So, hopefully you guys will humor me by listening to some of that. Like I said, I think it's really, really good stuff. So let's get into my top 10 list right now for Jushin Thunder Liger. And these are in no particular order. This is just my personal list. This isn't like, oh, 5-star Meltzer this, 5-star that. No, my own personal list. I just want to see what you guys think of this. First one I have on here is Jushin Liger versus Bad Boy Hideo. That is where we saw Keishin Liger, I believe, for the second time. Really, really dope match. He brutalized this dude. All I remember was him getting the spike out and he tried to stab him in the head. And he pissed Liger off something fierce. It's like a bee, kind of like if you smack him too hard, he's going to pull out the stinger and get you. That's what Liger ended up doing. He was brainbustering this dude on top of chairs. He did not care. And the mannerisms were different with Liger. It was just so good. So good. Let's see here. There was a match that I wanted to bring up that I've never seen, too. A lot of people told me about a 6-man match where we had Liger, Hamada, and Nawaya, I think is how you say it, versus Taka Michinoku, Funaki, and Dick Togo. And everybody raved about this match. I have yet to see it. I could not find it. It looked like there was one up on Daily Motion, but for some odd reason it wouldn't let me get to it. So I don't know if it's been taken down or what, but I could not find this match. and I believe it took place in Michinoku Pro, so it's going to be tough to find. But if anyone ever finds it, send it to your boy so I can see this match. Would love to see it. I have a match from 2016 up here. Jushin Thunder Liger versus the NXT guy Kushida now. These guys, chemistry's really good in this one. Liger, what was that? So that's 3 years ago. Liger might have been 50, 51. Going in there still putting on bangers with Kushida. You can't be mad at that, dude. I have Liger versus Chris Hero at PWG. These are just all honorable mentions too, guys. Really fun match. Liger versus Samoa Joe in TNA. This was when Joe was first getting really pushed, and Liger was a threat to Samoa Joe's undefeated streak at the time. Joe was being built as someone who could not be beat, and Samoa Joe versus Jushin Thunder Liger is a banger of a match if you haven't seen it yet. Joe goes out there and he does the Samoan dance in the beginning. Very cool. The fans loved Liger. They showed him nothing but respect. I know in later years, I think it was the same year, he also fought Petey Williams. I think New Japan and TNA had an agreement around that time for talent. But that was when they were doing like their World Cups and all their tournaments and everything else. So really, really dopeness coming out of that. We also have a match with Bryan Danielson, a.k.a. Daniel Bryan, now in WWE, in Ring of Honor. Fun match, and two selfless people. When you look at their win-loss records, they're not afraid to put someone over because they believe they're that good in the ring. And they were. Really fun match between these two. If you've never seen it, I believe it's up for free on Ring of Honor's YouTube channel, so that's one that you guys could always find and they will have for you. I brought up a tag match that not a lot of people talk about. Jushin Thunder Liger teamed with Brian Pillman, and they took on the team of a guy named Chris Benoit and Biff Wellington in WCW in a tournament match. It's kind of a sleeper pick. A lot of people don't go out searching for that match, but I thought that was something really good, and you guys can go back and find it in the archives. I believe that was in 92. I don't have all the dates for these like I do for the other ones. And a match that I just found out about that I have never seen would be Liger and some guy named the Pegasus Kid. They take on the Steiner brothers in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Really good stuff. Go back and watch Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner in their heyday when they could move around. These guys were powerful, strong, fast. They had it all, man. Could really do some damage. Let me see what we've got in the chat for what they're saying for some of their favorite Liger matches here. I'm seeing some Liger Ultimo Dragons. Yes. Good stuff. And King Savage put Liger versus Mysterio. They had a really good match at Starrcade, I believe, in 1996, I want to say it was. Yeah, they put on a good match there, too. You guys know. They have some good stuff that's happening there. Let us get into the 10 matches that I thought were best. And I have to put an asterisk next to this because at number 10, I have a tie between two matches. I could not pick between these two. I went back and forth over, well, this one's harder to find. This one's pretty good, but he had another match that I could have put in here. So I put down on my list Jushin Thunder Liger versus the Macho Man Randy Savage from July 17th, 1996. In New Japan Pro Wrestling. Not a lot of people knew that this match took place. This is when Macho Man Randy Savage is in WCW. This is probably, a week or two before the NWO heel turn? Savage is still babyface at the time, but Hogan's getting ready to turn. The industry is really changing in the world of pro wrestling, and we've got this at our fingertips. It's pretty cool that we could get to see this. Next up, we had a part of the tie for 10, Jushin Liger versus Owen Hart. This match took place on January 30th, 1990. There was some discrepancy over the dates because of what the original uploader had put on YouTube. Someone corrected him, so I'm going to assume that their date is right because, like I said, Liger was wrestling for a long time. So Owen Hart. This is back when Owen Hart was the Rocket. He comes out. There's two matches. There's one with him wearing red and white, and there's one with him wearing blue. Owen Hart was really good back then. At one point during this, you saw him using the sharpshooter. So this had to be right around the time when maybe Brett was thinking of it, or maybe Owen was the first one to do the sharpshooter and gave Brett some ideas, or maybe Owen saw Sting do it and he got some ideas from that. But really good matches with Liger. He goes out there. Him and Owen had a style that meshed really well because Owen was doing some pretty good high-flying things from his drop kicks to ensiguris. Owen and Liger styles meshed very well for the time, especially in the early 90s, because Owen Hart was flipping amazing before he joined High Energy and the New Hart Foundation and everything else. So kudos to them for that one. I'm trying not to give you guys any spoilers in these matches because you probably do want to go back and check out some of these. It's well worth your time. And I watched enough Jushin Thunder Liger matches for the last 2 weeks to last me a lifetime. So trust me on these. Next, I have for 9, and like I said, no order to any of these. Jushin Liger versus Koji Kamoto. This match took place February 16th, 1997. This is just a banger of a match. Two guys who are out there just to wrestle, put on a match, and put on a show. These guys are really, really good. No issues happening with any of this. These guys came out there, they saw, they delivered. And that is one of the big things with Liger. They went out there, put on a match for the people, and it's so weird to watch the crowds from back then. The crowds are even different today, in like when you're watching New Japan or Wrestle Kingdom. But back then, the crowds were very quiet, and they would wait for like an exchange of moves. And then, when the two guys knock each other down, then they both kind of kip up at the same time, and they're doing that. Then you would get the... And some of these fans would clap at the moment Liger pointed to them and told them to clap. Really dope stuff. Next up, one of my personal favorites, and Rob could attest to this. Jushin Thunder Liger versus the Great Muta from October 20th, 1996. So, during this time, Jushin Thunder Liger and Great Muta were in a feud with each other. And this is where we first see Kishin Liger. And this is back when I first finally got into YouTube. What is that? Almost 15 years ago. And this is where I figure out, okay, this is where Kishin Liger debuted. Muta in his matches he was basically trying to maim Liger, whether it was with chairs. Muta is a vicious wrestler no matter what when he's in that ring. He ended up trying to bust open his mask. Upon ripping off the mask, Liger has this face paint on, and he is ready to rock and roll. He's ready to fight, and he comes in ready to beat ass. He gets into the Kishin Liger mode, and all chaos breaks loose. This is one that you're going to want to see. If you've never seen these two in their primes, this is their prime, I would say, for both of them. They're out there doing what they can in a vicious, violent, brutal match. Really good stuff. Lots of fun with Liger and Muta. Number 7. I have Jushin Thunder Liger versus the Great Sasuke. And I hope I said that right, because I've heard it pronounced Sasuke, but I'm going to say the Great Sasuke. April 16th, 1996. Bro. This match, I believe it was for the Super J Cup, if I'm not mistaken. And I know you guys can hear the page turn in there. Sorry about that. The Super J Cup back then. And, dude, this match is really, really good. The Great Sasuke is someone who ended up making appearances in WWE during Taka Michinoku's light heavyweight title reign. Someone that Taka could work with and understood his style that, okay, I know what to do with him. That's fine. And he went out there and he put on a hell of a match with Liger. Liger really, really put this one over. And if you guys get towards the end of the match, something happens in the end of the match where a mistake is made. And when you're watching it, the mistake is made, but it is played off so well that you would never know that the mistake was made because it played into a part of the finish then. That's how good both these guys are. And I know it takes two to tango, but I'm giving more credit to Liger for why that worked. Because Liger reacted perfectly when all that happened. Watch the match, though, for you guys to see it. It's definitely one that you're going to want to see. We get to match number 6. Brian Pillman. I try not to do any doubles on this. If you guys hear a guy's name, there's multiple matches usually with the guy. Brian Pillman, Super Brawl 2. Go back to February 29th, 1992. I was such a wee little EPW show guy, and they put on a banger of a match for the WCW Light Heavyweight title. Google it if you guys want to see what the belt looked like. I always thought it was a nice looking title. They went out there and they delivered. Never did I see guys doing somersault flips off the top rope, diving to the outside, and then getting an American audience to get behind. You would have thought everybody in Milwaukee that night would have turned on Jushin Thunder Liger because he was from Japan. But instead, they embraced him. They cheered for Liger because, number 1, he had the look. 2, he had the in-ring skills. And 3, Liger was so good at his job. Even after the match, Liger figured out a way to say, hey, we both did it. Look at both of us. And it worked out for this. Next up, dude, this is a banger of a match. Jushin Thunder Liger versus the Pegasus Kid. This happened August 11th, 1992. If you guys never saw Chris Benoit, like way back in the day when he was younger, Chris Benoit is a spitting image of the Dynamite Kid. He went out there, he had nasty snap suplexes that he was using back then. Just imagine him. Everybody remembers his 2004 world title reign. Chris Benoit was a machine in 1992. Still learning things, but had a beautiful Snapdragon suplex, German suplexes. The dude could do it all. This is a really fun match. This is the first time I think I've ever seen someone get powerbombed off the top rope, and it was successful because it was scary as hell. That's something you would just do with your action figures and think, I wonder if this could ever happen. Freaking great. So when you guys look up some of Chris Benoit's stuff, as mentioned in the chat before, the Pegasus Kid is the name that you guys are going to want to look up for that. Number 4, Jushin Thunder Liger versus El Samurai. This match took place April 30th, 1992. This is a really good match. Some people have it as Jushin Thunder Liger's best match ever. It could be argued with these last 5 from the Pegasus Kid on up. Was this Liger's best match? You guys got to check it out and put it in for your own stuff here. But really good match. When Liger's matches are very, very personal, I've noticed that a lot of people will go for his mask, bust him open, and they put on a classic. And in this match, both masks get ripped, and you're looking at a Donnybrook, a big fight between these two. So much fun. Jushin Thunder Liger versus Ultimo Dragon is my next match. This took place December 13th, 1995. Dude, really fun. This was at War Super J Cup, and if I didn't mention it, it probably happened in New Japan, by the way, guys. So this is for War Super J Cup. Brody, Liger and Dragon are 2 of the best. I can't believe that to this day we are still having matches with these 2. I believe that I also found a match with, who was it? I believe it was Ultimo Dragon and a young Okada teaming up against the tag team of Jushin Thunder Liger and Puma, who was TJ Perkins at the time. TJP. You guys are in for a real treat when it comes to that one. These dudes put on a good match. I'm not going to tell you anything else. Watch it. Donnie put that match with Ultimo Dragon in there. Watch that match. It's so good. It is so good. A lot of people you don't want to miss out on what many would call a great match that enthralls technical wrestling, high flying, the ability to keep an audience into your match and tell a story in the ring, which is one of the beauties of New Japan. These guys as super junior heavyweights were able to do that. Good. Just good. Another match that some people say best Liger match, hands down. It's for the J Crown. Jushin Thunder Liger versus Otani. Most people are like, well, who's Otani? Otani is actually the first WCW Cruiserweight champion. He defeated Chris Benoit to become the first Cruiserweight champion. A lot of people forget that. This match took place February 9th, 1997. And It's a good match, man. These guys went out there, busted their ass. Otani's style is more wrestling based. He wants to get you down on the ground. He will work over your arm and stuff. You got to remember, in Japan, that's the style back in the early to mid 90s. They are down there. They are going to work your arm. Looks like a lot of shoot holds. But these guys go in, put on a match. Some people may argue, well, Liger's matches aren't perfect. He really doesn't have any 5-star matches. I don't give a damn. The man was consistent in good matches with people. Very rarely do you hear like, oh, Liger had a bad match. And I know he's in a lot of tag matches these days. I don't care. The man always gives 100% effort, and no different in this match. With the two contrasting styles, you would think, I wonder how this is going to turn out. Great. A great match, in my opinion. And number one, a match that was brought up by my good friend JPQ at no particular angle. Make sure that you guys give him a follow on all podcasting platforms as well. I recently was a guest on his podcast talking about Wrestle Kingdom, and we did kind of like a wrestling news wrap up a week or two before that. But Jushin Liger and Naoki Sano from January 31st, 1990. So when you hear that name, I hope you guys recognize it, because that is his tag team partner at Wrestle Kingdom 14 for night 2. That is going to be his tag team partner against Ryu Dragon. Excuse me, I almost called him Dragon Lee. Ryu Dragon and Takahashi. They're going to team up to go against this team, and it's going to be tremendous. But Liger picked someone who some would say greatest rival, some would say greatest match. And I can see why in this one. This is in 1990. The match starts immediately with Sano going after Liger's mask, busting him open. Liger's face is basically exposed in this, but Liger still got the long hair at the time. He's got his face covered for a lot of it during the match, so you got to really try and like look around to see what's happening in this one. Liger gets bloodied really bad in this match, and they fight and brawl and go at it. They're Irish whipping each other in the guardrails. They're diving over the top rope. They are out there leaping off the top rope. One of Liger's famous like big body splashes that he always did, that had to be like an awesome picture for any photographers back then. Always hit it perfectly. Everyone was safe on those. Liger's the man. We saw a somersault flip off the apron on top of him. The dude was fearless, man. One of the best junior heavyweights in the world. I'm going to leave this now to open up. So those are my top 10 favorite Liger matches that I know of. I still haven't seen all of his matches too. So I went through, I want to say the last week to week and a half, and I've been watching nothing but Jushin Thunder Liger matches to try to see what I could add to this list. Like I never saw the match with Otani until probably a couple days ago. I've seen lots of his Ultimo Dragons. The El Samurai match, never saw it in its fullness. I've seen the Pegasus Kid, Pillman, Great Sasuke. I did not see Liger versus Kanemoto. And I've seen some of the other ones. And I just went back through and I had a ball, man, just reliving all of that stuff. So if you guys got questions in the chat here, we're going to answer some of the ones that I saw before. But Connor Knows Wrestling, check out his podcast, Ask. This might be a question for later, but do you think he's going to unmask at Wrestle Kingdom? I don't think so. I think Jushin Thunder Liger is going to take the respectful bow and leave the ring after his tag match. And I don't want to give away what I think is going to happen, but I think it's going to be a moment. I think a lot of people in the crowd, you're going to see tears flowing for him. To me, one of the greatest junior heavyweights of all time in New Japan Pro Wrestling. A great pro wrestler, period. We had a question earlier that was about Liger and NXT one more time. I don't see Liger going back to the States. I believe he said he had his last States match when he announced it previously. So I don't think Liger is coming back to the States after all. Yeah, man. The career of Liger, just, dude meant so much, man. I don't know what else to say. I'm going to be personally sad when Jushin Thunder Liger retires. he meant so much to the wrestling world, dude. He could always put on a match. He's someone fun that you could have in a New Japan Rumble. He could show up at Ring of Honor. He could have been the dude who showed up at Impact one week. None of this would have surprised me if Liger showed up, because he was always there for another company to help put on a good match, to showcase something. And he was never selfish. He never always had to win. He never always lost. He always kept things interesting. And I just wish that a lot of people would just remember him for the good things, and we don't want to take advantage of him for that. No Lara just came in here, what's going on, and said Liger is the GOAT of high flyers. 100%, guys. And I really hope on that night for Wrestle Kingdom 14 that when Liger's in the ring both nights, that we can get Thank You Liger trending. That would be something I think very much so worth it. The dude deserves it. And if Jushin Thunder Liger ever gets the opportunity to see this video or this podcast, listening to it, thank you. Thank you for all the great matches. And thank you for always just being cool, man. Always having the masks. Always just being you, man. Always could put a smile on my face since I was a little boy until I'm a grown man now. So Jushin Thunder Liger has been part of my wrestling life, and it's going to be different without him after January 5th. So we're just going to leave it at that. Donnie wrote it best, Hall of Fame 2020. I don't see why not. I would include Jushin Thunder Liger. He had his NXT match. You've got footage of him versus Tyler Breeze in the WCW footage. Why not, man? He deserves it. But for you guys, if this is, like I said, your first time watching the video, please click the subscribe button. Also, if you haven't already, click the like button on the video. Really helps me out so more people see this video. And I hope a lot of people get the chance to enjoy this for what it was and just take part in some great things. I hope you guys are still liking these podcasts being recorded. Let me know if it's a good thing still. I just need some reassurance so that I know I'm doing the right thing with this, because I'm putting more content onto YouTube. Thank you guys for getting me to 1K once again. We don't stop here, though. We're focused on trying to get to 2K, 3K, 5K. We want to keep growing everything pro wrestling, so tell your friends, man. Jesus De Leon just entered the chat. What is going on, Jesus? Tell your friends, though, man. We could get some more people into everything pro wrestling. In the description of the video, we have a link tree. The link tree gets you to everything, all my podcasts. We have a merch store if you guys want to buy some Everything Pro Wrestling merch. These aren't the hats. Derek actually got these custom made for me, but we have different things up there. As far as t-shirts, we got ones with like NWO style logos with different colors. You can get them on any background you want. You get a coffee mug, stickers for your laptop, whatever you want, guys. Spend $5 on there. It doesn't matter. It's to help a great cause. Everything Pro Wrestling. I would rather have you guys spend your money and get a t-shirt or something than to spend your money and get nothing. This, Liger and all of his independent things we were talking about. In the description box as well, we have a good promo running with Powerslam.tv. If you guys want to watch some of the best independent wrestling in the world, guys, use my promo code, first month's on me. Put in EPW show, all one word, just like my Twitter account, and you guys will be able to get 1 month free of Powerslam.tv if you guys want to watch some independent wrestling. On me, man. Give the service a try. Hopefully you like it. There'll be an ad placed in here too somewhere, and also showing some love to my boys at Everything College Basketball. College Hoops is in full gear. My team, Tar Heels, not doing too well with injuries right now, but hopefully things pick up. My man Derek said hit him up for the hats. Check out KB Batco as well on Instagram. Derek also does bats, everything else on there. So if you guys are big fans of baseball, holla at Derek. He can get you guys some stuff. No Lara said that I like Liger's alter ego. Oh, Rob, you were given credit for this. Donnie, thank you guys. Yes, Liger's alter ego, Jushin Liger. We talked about that before, guys. So iconic. He's one of the 3 wrestlers to get a cartoon. Yes, that's where all of Liger stuff came from, guys. That great cartoon, Beast God Liger. Look it up, man. You guys will have so much fun. I hope you enjoyed this. We talked about the history of Jushin Thunder Liger, how I got introduced to Liger, why do I like Liger so much, and my top 10 favorite matches. And I did a lot of honorable mentions as well because I watched so many of them. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching Everything Pro Wrestling. I'm Conrad Cushman, and we will be back tomorrow with a review of AEW Dynamite before Christmas. So that'll be our Christmas edition of AEW Dynamite review. We're out. Peace. Folks, that was an amazing episode to record, all about Jushin Thunder Liger, one of my favorite pro wrestlers from New Japan Pro Wrestling, one of the best junior heavyweights in the world. Hell, one of the best pro wrestlers in the world. I want you guys to make sure that you're checking out everything we're doing at Everything Pro Wrestling. Make sure you check out the link tree and all the links that we have in the description box. And also, guys, we only have 2 more podcast episodes left. They're going to be out of order a little bit, so I wanted to start telling you guys this now. You're going to get a special Wrestle Kingdom episode, and you guys are going to be getting a preview, predictions, and everything going with that. Also, you're going to be getting our year-end award. So if you guys haven't voted or you got friends who haven't voted, tell everybody to get their votes in now. We're going to be locking them in, and me and Rob are going to go over our personal picks and who you guys picked to be the best pro wrestlers in 2019. I can't wait to look forward to it. And to me, there's only one way to end this podcast, so let's do it right.
走れ明日走れ怒りの炎が天を突き破る廃墟の中から立ち上がる